But um, you mentioned the transfer portal, and I saw earlier this week with the release of the new NCAA football game that service academy athletes were not allowed to get the stipend that they were offering. They were offering like a $600-700 stipend if you agreed to license your likeness for the game, and the Naval Academy athletes were not allowed to do that. So I think it just brings up a general question of how do the service academies stay competitive in this era of, basically the Wild West when it comes to college football, with conference realignment, with the transfer portal, with NIL. Have they changed their approach, or is it we're just going to keep doing our thing and, stay competitive that way?
I think there might be some tweaking that needs to be done, but I will say that the best path is to stick to your core foundations, your core values when it comes to looking for the athletes that we look for. Okay. First of all, the whole NIL thing, West Point, Navy, Air Force athletes, they're all government employees. So they already get paid some amount of money. And they can't accept a secondary income under those circumstances. When it comes to the type of athlete and, whether or not, because, I think fans are more, wringing their hands over the whole college transfer portal and NIL more than the coaching staffs of the respective teams are. Because when you look at the type of athlete Navy's looking for, first of all, they're not looking for athletes who want to be pro football players or pro basketball players or anything like that. They're looking for athletes who want to serve their country, but they still want to play Division I sports.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
With that in mind, they have a really good value proposition. Okay. Come to Navy. We will guarantee you an elite education. You'll have a chance to play Division I sports at the highest competitive level, and we guarantee you a job when you graduate. That's pretty powerful. Okay. So when you are able to make that pitch to a solid 3-star athlete in any sport, pick it, it doesn't matter. And you know that there's potential to develop them perhaps to a 4-star athlete while they're there. Because here's where I think a lot is missed now in college sports. There is very little room for development for athletes, right? I mean, you're pulling in, go look at seeing what's going on right now. I mean, you're looking at all these different teams. Hey, who's up on the transfer portal that I can pull in here from a junior college or from another school? They don't have to spend time developing them. And to me, part of being a coach in college sports should include that to some level. Well, at Navy, you get, or Army or Air Force, you get a chance to do that all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think that with that in mind, you can recruit athletes that can get to the level to the point where, hey, we may not beat these guys all the time, but we can hold our own. And all I got to do is point back to 2016 when Navy rolled into, they came off of just a really disappointing loss against Air Force. And guess what? Number 6 Houston was coming to town the very next day or the very next week. And somehow Navy pulled it together and beat them, So you've got a bunch of college kids, 3-star recruits that beat the number 6 ranked team in the country, coming off of a devastating loss. So, I mean, I think it's a challenge, no doubt. And I think sometimes it can be pretty frustrating, but I believe that as long as Navy stays true to what has gotten them there by looking for the right athlete with the leadership potential to become a really good Marine Corps officer or Navy officer, then they're going to be fine.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, like you said, the type of athletes that they are recruiting is not really going to change because kids are not looking to become professional athletes if they're going to Navy, or they're not looking to make that social media money or endorsement money. So it's just a different type of guy or different type of woman. So it makes sense for that. So where can folks find your podcast? Where can folks find you on social media if they want to learn more about the Naval Academy sports and all the cool things that are happening there?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that. Well, you can follow Navy Sports Central wherever you get your podcasts. I'm on all the directories. And if you want to check me out on Instagram, I'm at Navy Sports Nation on Instagram. And I also have a Facebook group. It's a private group, but it's open to anybody who's interested in Navy sports. You just punch in, go to Facebook, type in Navy Sports Nation in the groups, it'll come up. And there's like a couple of questions I ask just to kind of, weed out, people who just are
got to filter the bots.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the trolls.
Exactly. And then, so you can join we have close to 1,000 members, in that group as well. Now, I'm not saying all of them are active, but, There you have it. And real quickly, I did want to point out, we're talking about national and world stages, but I did want to point out a couple of individual athletes who have really stepped up. And again, these are in sports that you may not be as familiar with, but we have a guy named Braden Presser, who is a javelin thrower for the outdoor track team. He was a first team All American last year, finished sixth in the country in the javelin. And then we had a couple of members of the rowing team. They have three rowing teams at Navy: the women's team, and then the men's heavyweight and lightweight teams. Well, these two lightweight rowers, which means you're under 170 pounds, they qualified for the under 23 World Championships that took
Wow,
place in
incredible.
Europe in the pairs, in lightweight pairs, and they won that. So they are a couple of world champions. And then also their names were Mason Banks and Jackson Fuller. And then Lauren Day was the woman who competed in the women's eights rowing over there under 23, and they won that world championship. So you got some pretty stellar players. Jackson Bonnets is a defenseman who was a member of the under 23 lacrosse team for USA Lacrosse, and they won the world championship in 2022.
Wow.
So the athletes are there, and if you really want to get an appreciation of what they're all about, come drop in and listen to a podcast and come say hello.
Yeah, so the athletic excellence is definitely not just on the football or the cross field. Sounds like it's, in the rivers where they're rowing, and on the basketball court and all these other places as well. So thank you so much, Karl. Really appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and insight with us about the Naval Academy and the incredible things that are happening with the athletics there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Khaled. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed our conversation. Believe me.
Thank you.